owing to the fact that we are a religiously divided country, and also we have a lot of ethnic group in the country. And whether we like it or not, Nigeria has two protectorates, though it has not been, clearly defined in today's world, in today's Nigeria, but it is there, the South and the North. So, in order for us to have good representation, where someone must be there from the South and from the North, we must have a running mate. And in a country like ours, we shouldn't just have a running mate. I remember in the time of Obasanjo, there was an issue. We heard that the president then intended to, make provision for a third term. If not for the effort of the vice president then, I think that probably would have been a reality. So we need not just a vice president, a running mate, we need an active running mate. And more power should be ceded to a running mate as well.
Can I ask you a question?
Not just being there as a rubber stamp.
All right. Can you hear me?
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Yes.
What part of the country are you from?
I'm from the southern part of the country.
Okay. So let's imagine that there is a candidate from the northern part of the country, and this candidate chooses a running mate from your region. Would that be enough to influence your vote? Would you want to vote for this party and candidate?
It definitely do not be enough. To me, I don't consider, where the person comes from. The competence of the person is what matters.
Okay.
But that is not the understanding. That is not the orientation of the average Nigerian. Whether we like it or not, religion and where the person comes from plays a critical role in Nigeria. The average Nigerian thinks that if someone from his own region does not is not represented, then it does not have any need to participate in the electoral process.
Right,
but to me, it doesn't matter where the person comes from. What I consider most is the competence and the pedigree of the person.
Thank you very much. Since this show is dedicated to enlightenment, I'm guessing our target is the average Nigerian. Hello, good morning. Call back if you can. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Mr. Bankole.
Go ahead, Mr.
I'm
Bankole.
calling from Port Harcourt.
All right.
I think the issue of running mate is something that is based on self-assessment, having been chosen as a presidential candidate. You know yourself, you know your qualification, you know your disposition. So you have to carefully look for another person that will complement you, complement your role, because it's going to be a heavy responsibility when you become president. So now, when you pick somebody who can complement your thinking, your ideas, and who can go outside and know what needs to be done so that the totality of actions can be completed, it's not a running mate that wants to be president immediately. It's not a crime to want to be president. But you have to preserve your ambition for the purpose of the man that have chosen you. That is like, if you look at the present vice president, you see that he didn't lose any ambition until we are getting to the end. And if you go back to the time of Obasanjo, hardly had the first president sitting in the post, he has started losing the ambition of being president. And that thing led to issue of hanky-panky and distance between him and the president. So we need to understand the proper role. The running mate need to understand the proper role. Why he is being chosen for geographical spread, political balance, thinking balance, idea balance, and whatever to move the country forward.
All right.
You don't have to be pursuing your ambition right from onset of being the vice president.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Those things he said they actually do look good on paper. Let's go over to WhatsApp. Good morning, NigeriaInfo. In Nigerian political parties select running mates just to gain votes from his area. Running mates in Nigeria are like shadows following an object. That's from Stephen. Good morning, Sam and my able director, Saike Chimogo. Now that INEC has dismissed the concept of placeholder for vice presidential candidate as illegal, saying he has no place in constitution and legal framework, what's the fate of the newly nominated running mates of Labour Party and other parties? Well, we'll get to find out eventually. I'm ashamed of, he mentions a party here. You will agree with me that the intelligence that matters in society, it is mediocrity. Well, They're showing a lack of faith in a particular party. Of course, we are going to get to the point, and I think we should get there now. The personality of the running mates that we know so far. We know who that of the PDP is and the Labour Party. Mm-hmm. How do you assess these running mates? We'll start with the PDP.
Antecedents. So let's start with the PDP. Ifeanyi Okowa has been a governor. But you also go back to the level of development, progress in Delta State. I've tried as much as I can to follow through with some of their achievements, and I think the Rivers State governor is still a standout feature in the political schemes
as
around the south
Okowa.
Compared to Okowa. Okay,
are we talking political influence or
development? I've been to Delta in Okowa's regime, and you haven't seen, the standout speed of development, the turnaround maintenance of Delta State. Salaries are still being owed. It's the same thing with River State. Probably you hear the cries from pensioners and all that, but it's a little worse. Okay, when you get to Delta State, it seems as though he is a figurehead, and there isn't much development. Now, being able to stabilize the state is a strong factor. Indeed. But there isn't war also in River State, in Delta, in Bayelsa, and other grounds in the south, right? Then you get over to the Labour Party, Dati, the owner of Bayes University and all that, a young man with sterling qualities, 46 years.
All right.
Yeah.
The age is important too to Nigerians.
Yeah, really he's a youth.
So, yeah, he is. Technically, he qualifies as a youth. After the break, we talk some more about the personality of the Labour Party running mate. Don't go anywhere. Saike Chimogu still right here with me. An interesting comment just came in on WhatsApp. Your choice of a wife determines how far you go in life. It's also applicable to government on how well you perform in office. And that is from Francis. So we were talking about the personality of the Labour Party running mate. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so for his age, because I like to match age. He's only 46, and for what he's achieved, you either identify with two things. One, maybe he's from a very wealthy background. He could be fronting for his father, for which, I mean, a 46-year-old man could carry on such huge profile. You look at the environment, the northern pattern, the northern behavior. Okay, they give exception to a few elites and let them run the show for them. So, which is why he's been a senator. But then, how much of a standout senator has he been? We've known, I mean, up till date, we still hear of the likes of Dino Melaye and the rest of them because of their features, because of what do you call him? Ben Murray Bruce, because of the bills they proposed and all that. Yeah. So we haven't heard much about Dati in terms of political antecedents. Okay, in comparison to Okowa is a sitting governor. Dati has not led a state before. So being a businessman could in some way differ from being a politician. Okay, as a businessman, you run your empire, you run the show, you call the shots, irrespective of how outstanding you have been. We have not even interacted with Bayes University staff or his other staff to know what kind of boss he's been, to know what we expect. So you balance all of these things, but by the paperworks, by the books, everybody would package his profile in a way that, commends some bit of appeal. So far, so good. I think the most important thing for me at the end of the day is ahead of 2023, we have the hopes that whoever emerges from any of the party would have a run for his money. And that's a plus for Nigerian politics.
All right. So based on profile packaging, it's just like your LinkedIn profile. Some candidates and running mates are looking really good. So beyond the packaging, let's hope that we see what the reality is. Thank you very much, Saike Chimogu, for making the time. It's always a pleasure sharing space with you. And if you would like to connect with you on social media,
at Ike Chimogu across platforms.
All right.
Yeah.
It has been a wonderful time on Road to 2023. It's time for the news around the world. After that, stand out with Mr. Patrick. Stay with us.